Good morning. Today I will be talking about small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It is known as SIBO, SIBO. The definition of SIBO is that the bacterial count in the small ball is more than 10 to the power 5 colony forming unit per ml. Normally the bacterial count is 10 to the power 3, but if it grows to more than 10 to the power 5 colony forming unit per ml, then it is known as SIBO. SIBO is basically the overgrowth of bacteria in our small intestine, which can occur due to many causes. We will be talking about some of the causes of SIBO and the factors which predisposes it. These are these bacteria are normal gut flow commensals which are normally present in our intestine, uh, like uh, like enterococci and anaerobes. Mostly in small intestine there are gram-positive bacteria, but in SIBO there is overgrowth of gram-negative organisms which are normally present in our large intestine. Small intestine normally have gram-positive bacteria. So these gram-negative organisms like enterococci and anaerobes become predominant in SIBO, and because of their metabolism, we have many of our side effects. What are the clinical features of SIBO? The first clinical feature of SIBO is abdominal bloating, which means fullness of abdomen, discomfort, and pain in abdomen. There can be flatulence because of the excessive digestion of the food products in our intestine by the bacteria, and there can be diarrhea or there cannot be diarrhea. It can be present with diarrhea or without diarrhea. So there can be specific nutrient deficiencies like hypocalcemia because of vitamin D deficiency, and polyneuropathy because of vitamin B12 deficiency, as well as megaloblastic anemia because of vitamin B12 deficiency. So it can cause specific nutrient deficiency as well, because the growing bacteria needs vitamins for its growth. So it causes specific vitamin deficiency like vitamin B12 deficiency, vitamin D deficiency, as well as vitamin A deficiency in some of the cases in when the SIBO is very in advanced stage, and it can cause iron deficiency anemia also. So the etiological factors which predispose to SIBO are these: hypochlorhydria, which means there is less of acid in our stomach. So hypochlorhydria can cause SIBO, SIBO. Because of decrease in acid, the bacteria will not be destroyed and it will overgrow. So this can cause SIBO. Hypochlorhydria is it can be because of it can be because of atrophy atrophy of the stomach, and it can be because of also it can also be because of taking large amount of proton pump inhibitors. So very high amount of PPI can also cause hypochlorhydria. The second cause is chronic pancreatitis. Chronic pancreatitis, which causes decrease in the proteolytic enzyme of pancreas. We know that pancreas produce proteolytic enzymes, so decrease in proteolytic enzyme can cause increased growth of bacteria. Also, chronic pancreatitis. Also, in chronic pancreatitis, because the enzymes are low, so the food food is digested less. So increased amount of waste in our intestine, which can cause bacterial proliferation. The third cause is GI dysmotility. Because of GI dysmotility, the propulsion of intestine is decreased. Decreased propulsion of intestine will cause increase amount of food products in our intestine, and increased food product will cause more number of bacteria. So GI dysmotility can be because of diabetes, Diabetes is a cause of GI dysmotility. Scleroderma is a cause of GI dysmotility. It can be because of polymyositis and cirrhosis, and renal failure can also cause GI dysmotility and cause SIBO, SIBO. The other is structural abnormalities like after Billroth 2 or Roux-en-Y anastomosis our intestine. We know that these are Billroth 2 and Roux-en-Y anastomosis are in the shape of Y. Intestine are made in the shape of Y like this. One loop is this blind loop is there, and when the food is accumulated in this blind loop, it can cause increased number of bacteria in this part, so it can cause SIBO, SIBO. So these Roux-en-Y anastomosis, Billroth 2 anastomosis are mainly done in case of carcinoma of stomach. It can be because of diverticula also. We know that the diverticula in some cases there is in intestine there is outpouching, and this outpouching will accumulate food, as well as there can be increased amount of bacteria in this outpouching. So diverticula is also a cause of SIBO. Also, in after a certain age, there is decrease in the motility of our intestine. So after in 15 to 30% in elderly, there is increased amount of bacteria, and this can be a cause of increased amount of diarrhea in old age. So these can be causes of SIBO. Next, how we come to our diagnosis of SIBO. So SIBO is diagnosed by is gold standard is bacterial culture. We take out some amount of fluid from our intestine, and we culture it, and after bacterial culture we can see that which all organisms are there present in SIBO. But bacterial culture is gold standard, but it is not done frequently because it is difficult to take aspirate from the intestine and to culture it. So it is not done routinely, but it is the gold standard. As well as we can do breath test. Hydrogen breath test can also be done. Hydrogen is not produced in our body, it can be only produced by bacteria, and bacteria when produce hydrogen, it can be detected, and we can know that it is because of the overgrowth of bacteria. Now coming on to the management of SIBO. Management of SIBO, what all do we can do in our management of SIBO? First of all, we can give antibiotics to control the overgrowth of bacteria. Secondly, we can do is to provide nutrient support, to which are deficient in SIBO, and thirdly we can give probiotics mm, to increase the number of good bacteria in our intestine. So antibiotics mainly we use rifaximin. Rifaximin rifaximin and as well as metronidazole. These two antibiotics are usually given for SIBO. Rifaximin and metronidazole. These two antibiotics are given for SIBO, and 7 to 10 days of treatment will resolve most of the cases of SIBO. Rifaximin, however, is advised for 10 to 14 days. 10 to 14 days, rifaximin should be given, and rifaximin is given in the dose of 400 milligram TID for 10 to 14 days if we give. Another antibiotics we can give ciprofloxacin or amoxiclavulinic acid, as well as doxycycline and tetracycline. Now coming on to probiotics. In probiotics, we have seen that in randomized controlled trial, the L-Casei and L-acidophilus, these two bacteria significantly reduce the diarrhea in most of the cases. So these two probiotics are very helpful in case of SIBO. And third is nutritional support. We give nutrition support for deficiency of vitamin D, and deficiency of vitamin B12, and deficiency of vitamin A, as well as iron deficiency. We also give nutritional support for these things. So this is the management of SIBO, and this was in short what is SIBO and how do we manage it. So thank you for listening, and I will be presenting next case very soon. Thanks a lot.